Surprise, motherfucker! What's up? This is your friendly neighborhood, Venture Satanis. How's it going? I need to shave, but otherwise, I'm doing okay. Okay, so 15 sessions and about 7.5 months into the Chult campaign, Crystals of Chaos. And I've learned a few things. One of the things that I learned, I kind of knew this already, but seeing it in practice, is that you don't need a high lethality OSR game for it to be, OSR or traditional or old school. You can do all that and still not kill the player characters or have them be killed. And I don't know, that probably surprises some people. I know a lot of people want to get into an OSR game, or they want to start running it, or join a game that is already in progress, but that's their major complaint or caveat, is that they don't want to be constantly killed and have to start over, or roll up a new character all the time. A lot of people don't care, or a lot of people like that about the OSR. But there are a lot of people that aren't interested in that, or so new and different from what they're expecting based on, say, 5th edition, that they're hesitant. Well, there's a segment somewhere in that Venn diagram of people that want to play an OSR game that don't want characters to be killed all the time, or they don't want, from the game master's perspective, they don't want the PCs to die necessarily, or and from the player's perspective, they don't want their characters to be killed. In my 15 sessions of the Chult campaign, no character has died, and they've suffered, certainly. Bad things have happened. Appendages have been lost, or fingers. One guy was sort of resurrected supernaturally on the spot in order to be kept alive. One or two people were knocked unconscious and were basically out of commission for a good long while they tried to recuperate. And stuff like that. So yeah, there's ways around it. You can still do OSR without PC death. Maybe if you've never encountered anybody that's ever done that, now you have. I'm proof that has happened. As long as there's, you do need a risk with a reward. The risk doesn't necessarily have to be death, or death could be on the table, but just because someone gets unlucky with a die roll, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go through with it all the way. It could be extenuating circumstances, or near death, and then they need like a week to get back on their feet or something like that. Or you have the gods and magic, and in my case you have cybernetics and sci-fi, high technology, things like that. So there's like a million ways to keep the player characters from getting killed, if you're interested in that. I like to just keep the narrative going. I just didn't find a reason. There basically was no reason to kill the characters. I didn't feel like that created any more drama. It would just set the party back a little bit. I'm not saying I wouldn't do that for the next campaign. I like to change things up. I like to do things differently from one session or campaign to the next. But in this one, it just I don't know. I just decided to do it that way, to not kill the player characters. Instead find some other way for them to suffer. And it's worked out great. The players don't seem to mind, or they're not like, oh man, you should have killed my character, that would have been so cool. Damn it, I'm still alive. So it can definitely work. There's a lot, I go back and forth, especially on social media, about game mastering and the different styles and philosophies of role-playing games. Just because you're old school and you don't want a railroad, doesn't mean that you have to fit one style or mode of play to another. I don't want to take away player agency, and I don't think that not killing PCs takes away player agency. Player agency is about letting a player's character have the opportunity to change their own fate and how things go in the campaign. And that's independent of whether they survive from being stabbed or falling off a cliff, or I don't know, being electrocuted or petrified, or dragon's fire or what have you. Sometimes we're miraculously saved. A lot of people watching this, myself included, have come close to death, and yet we survived. And that doesn't mean that we didn't have control over our own actions. It doesn't mean we don't have a destiny. Doesn't mean that we didn't affect the world and create change in reality. We've done all those things while surviving. In fact, I would say that to have the most player agency, first you have to survive. You have to live through whatever you've experienced. To some degree, killing player characters takes away player agency, but sometimes you gotta have it, or maybe you don't have to have it, but it's expected. Maybe it works with your genre. To each their own, basically. I'm not going to shit on anybody's game if they want to have a high lethal game, high lethality. And I don't want anyone to shit on my campaign or my game mastering if I don't kill the player characters. Because next year things might be completely different. Definitely, if I'm doing investigative horror, like Lovecraftian cosmic horror and stuff like that, there's probably more reason to bring death into it for the PCs. Not necessarily, but it's probably more likely. So, anyway, that's what I had to say. And also, there's a difference between, I mentioned this in advanced game mastering like a fucking boss. There's a difference between, like, a player character jumping into swirling blades because he doesn't think the game master is going to kill his character, versus trying to survive and you got, smacked with a critical hit at an inopportune time when you were already running low on hit points, and then your character just dies. Um, as long as you have respect for the game, the campaign world, you try to be immersed, and you try to protect immersion. I don't see any reason why not. Why the game master can't find some other way to make your character suffer rather than just using death. But on the other hand, if the player is just so nonchalant that, he's going to run up to a mass of the king's guards and just like kick everybody in the shin, and then threaten the king, and then like try to stab people's eyes out, without any sort of protection, 1 against say 10, and he's just doing it to, I don't know, to fuck around or be silly or whatever. I don't have any problem with killing, even in a non-lethal game. I don't have a problem with killing that particular PC that seems to be courting death. That's fine with me. I would probably do that too. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine I wouldn't kill that character if something like that happened. But if you're actually trying to survive and you're respecting the game world, and you understand the risk and reward, and somehow the risk got you, then there's nothing wrong with finding a different way, taking a different avenue. Maybe the PCs wind up in prison, or on a chain gang, as slaves to some, I don't know, warlord or prince or deity or something like that. There's a million ways to get around death if you want to. Okay, I've rambled long enough. Sorry about that. But I just wanted to dip my oar in the water. I've got a new session report on the old blog, so go to Venger's Old School Gaming blog. If you want hardcovers of the Chult variety, I still have plenty of those. That's the blog post before this last one. Or just email me, venger.satanis@yahoo.com. Okay, that's it. Have a good one.